everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. I know you're here because you want to hear about our 60th season and what we will optimistically be presenting at the barn in 2021. Today I'm going to talk to the people who have been chosen to direct those shows and announce those titles. And first of all, the person with me today is Shelley McFadden. Hi, Shelley.
Hi, Jack.
So nice to see you. Tell me a little bit about your directing experience here at Putnam County Playhouse.
Well, I've directed 2 plays. One was Never Too Late, and the second was The Mark of Cain.
Yes.
And then with musicals, I've directed The Music Man, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, 1776, The Drowsy Chaperone, Thoroughly Modern Millie, and She Loves Me. I think that's it.
Yes, that's good. So you directed the show that opened our 50th season, and you will also be directing the show that opens our 60th season.
Right.
Now, you also direct shows elsewhere. Where else have you worked as a director?
Really only at Brazil, at the Community Theater of Clay County.
So you did a little Abner there.
I did Little Abner.
Yes.
Let's see. I really can't think of any other shows that I've directed there.
Okay. Well, after perfection, why would you want to try it again? Now, tell us the title of the show you'll be directing in June at the Putnam County Playhouse.
I will be directing The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
And this is the musical version.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about it? What's it about?
I can. The Hunchback of Notre Dame is the stage adaptation of the Disney animated movie that was released in 1996. Although it's really closer to the Victor Hugo novel, it's not going to be a Disney production. It's a multi-layered story that takes place in Paris in 1482, and a priest, Claude Frollo, takes in his brother's son, who has non-normative features and some other disabilities, and he names that baby Quasimodo and raises him in the bell tower of the Cathedral of Notre Dame. And then as Quasi grows up, he longs to be in the outside world, but is kept there by Frollo. And so one day he sneaks out and is part of the Feast of Fools. And there he comes into contact with Esmeralda, as does Captain Phoebus and Claude Frollo, and then drama ensues.
Okay, so this production, this particular musical, has some of the songs from the Disney musical, but then the script is not from the cartoon musical. It's based on the actual novel by Victor Hugo, the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, there are some changes.
Who wrote the music and lyrics?
Stephen Schwartz and Alan Menken. Don't recall who wrote the book for it at this point.
Stephen Schwartz, Pippin and Wicked. And of course, Alan Menken is Little Shop of Horrors and The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
So we're in good hands there.
We are. It's beautiful, beautiful music.
Yes. Have you seen it produced on stage?
I have. There were a small group of us that went to see it at Myers Dinner Theater, and it was a really nice performance. They had the girl who played Esmeralda was magnificent. It was a really good cast, and they have a much smaller stage than we do. And so, when I left, my first thought was, we can do that.
Okay. So tell me, what will you be looking for at auditions for people who might be watching us today and thinking about coming out for the show? What will you be looking at?
Well, we're going to be looking at 2 different things. The first is we're going to have a choir, and so we'll be looking for just amazing vocalists for that. And we will have soprano, alto, tenor, bass. We want all 4 parts, probably 5 parts in some places, but we just really want to make sure that is, because they're so integral to the stage, that we want to make sure that they are just fabulous. So we'll be doing those auditions separately. And then for the main characters, it's just a wonderful story, and it's filled with some amazing characters. It's got a gypsy troupe that's led by Clopin, and he is assisted in his narration by the congregation. And then the congregation actually plays the gypsies, the soldiers, the you know, the Fools at the Festival of Fools and all that kinds of things. So it's going to be the congregation or chorus is going to have a lot of really fun work to do. So it's just going to be great. And then they'll also play the gargoyles, the statues, and things like that, you know, up in the bell tower. And then I have to switch pages. And then, of course, we'll have Quasimodo, Frollo, Esmeralda, Phoebus, and some other really nice characters. So it's going to be a great cast.
Well, I'm intrigued by your description. I haven't seen it on stage, so I'm intrigued by what you may bring
It's going to
to
be
the
good.
stage. What are the dates of the production and your auditions?
Boy, you caught me off guard with that. I want to say it's June 4th, 5th, 6th. June 4th, 5th, 6th,
I think
and
it's
then
June
the
3rd, 4th, and 5th.
9th. Okay. And then
And
maybe
then
the
next
9th through
Thursday.
the 12th.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And then, when are your auditions?
Auditions, we're actually going to have two different sets of auditions. The audition for the choir will be Monday, March 14th at 3 o'clock, and Sunday, March 14th at 3 o'clock, and Monday, March 15th at 7 p.m. And then for everyone else, anyone who wants to be cast as a character, we'll do that on Sunday. Oh, I keep getting tongue-tied. Sunday, March 28th at 3, and Monday, March 29th at 7.
So you're going to be working with the congregation, the choir, a couple of weeks before you cast your main roles.
Right, just the choir. The congregation will be part of
Oh, I'm
the
sorry.
second group. That's
Oh,
okay.
I see. Okay. Oh, well, that's very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to it, Shelley. I won't threaten you and say I'll come to auditions, but I may come just to watch.
Hey, come on.
If
And I
there's-
think you were right. I think I corrected you incorrectly. I think you're right. The congregation is the gypsies and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Well, not to put too fine a point on it. Shelley, thank you so much for talking to me today and letting everybody know what the first show of our 60th season is. And that will be the musical The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I'll be back in just a moment and we'll talk to the director of the July show. And we're back. Now we're going to talk about the July show with director Andrew Rank. Andrew, thanks for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your directing experience here at Putnam County Playhouse.
Here at the Playhouse, I moved to town about 5.5 years ago and got involved almost immediately. And while I didn't direct the first year I lived here, I was lucky enough the second year to be involved with the female version of The Odd Couple. Tremendous fun. Neil Simon's always great to do.
Yes. And I think your first show that you were in, I think, was Seven Brides,
Seven Brides.
For Seven Brothers.
Yep.
And then your leads in The Odd Couple, that was Megan Armitage
and Sarah.
And Sarah Armitage.
Yes.
Yes, very lively show.
Yeah, that was a lot of
A
fun.
lot of fun. Where else have you directed shows?
I've had the benefit of directing at DePaul University, the first place I ever directed it, back when I was an undergrad. We won't say what year.
Oh.
But then in Columbus, Indiana, with Mill Race Players, which is the Playhouse equivalent in Columbus, Indiana, and then in Indianapolis at Buck Creek Players and at Theater on the Square.
Oh, very
I've worked in a lot of other theaters, but I've directed at those too.
yes, very well-known theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that one of the shows that you directed was a wonderful production of The Women.
Yes.
And that was at Buck, I think
It was
that
at Buck
the
Creek Players, yeah, right.
Yes, and I think that's still talked about.
It is 42 speaking parts, all female.
Oh my, yes, that's a wonderful show.
It is a
and
lot of fun.
I imagine that I imagine that was a big hit for
It
them.
was, and it garnered a lot of awards at the Encore Awards in Indianapolis, which is the equivalent of the Tony Awards, we like to say,
Yes.
for Indianapolis Community Theater.
Okay, the moment has come. Will you tell us the title of the show that you'll be
The
directing?
title of the show
Putnam
is
County
Pillow
Playhouse?
Talk, and you might know it as a movie, but it was the screenplay. The original screenplay was adapted to the stage,
Yes.
actually prior to it being filmed as a movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did a little research on that. And so it's interesting to see the difference. It was done at the same time. A lot of times a play will move to a movie or a movie will move to a play with several years in between. These are almost on top of each other. So it's interesting to see the dialogue of the movie as it compares to the dialogue of the play. And there are some differences.
Yes. Well, tell us, what's the play about?
The
for
play
someone who
is,
might not know?
many folks younger than we, Jack, may not understand the idea of a party line.
Oh, yes.
But this, all the action takes place because two individuals, a male and a female, Jan and Brad, have to share a telephone. And for those folks who only know about cell phones, imagine having to share your cell phone with someone you didn't know in your same town. And then all the comedy is derived from them having to share this line, as is the romance.
Oh, that's good. So are there mistaken identities?
Absolutely.
and-
It almost feels Shakespearean or restoration comedy in a comedy of manners, comedy of mistaken identities. It's
Oh.
a lot of fun.
Yes, yes. What will you be looking for at auditions?
For people who aren't afraid just to have fun. This is a period piece, and when it was originally written and played, it would have played fine in its period. But we've got to be really careful to make sure we're not trying to make it modern day. It can't be. So I've got to have people who are willing to have a little bit of fun with history and not afraid to be a caricature of history, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes, I see what you're
In 1959, when it was written, you wouldn't have had it wouldn't have been a caricature.
Of course.
It would have been a very real, realistic play. Now it's kind of in fantasy land now, so we got to, I think, have some fun with it and look at it more like a British sex farce,
Oh,
without the pants falling down.
well, so far as we know now.
Yes, yes, so far.
Well, yes, I remember the film from 1959. Of course, it's very popular. Do you at auditions ask people to read from the script? Or do
For
you-
this, it'll be reading from the script. Not going to expect anybody to come in with a monologue prepared. It'll be reading from the script, and this show is such an interactive show with each other. You'll never be doing a monologue. You'll be working with each other in auditions as pairs, as groupings, because of the structure of the play.
Well, would you recommend people who are interested in auditioning, if they're not familiar with the show, watch the movie?
Absolutely. I found it free on DirecTV and a couple other channels you can find it for free. Yeah, definitely watch the movie. It's going to give you this sense of the period and the style, because it's the show and the set and the setting is going to be just as important as the characters, because again, it's a historical piece at this point.
Yes, almost like a Renaissance piece.
Yes.
You're going back.
Yeah, going back in time.
Well, of course, not for me.
Not for
but-
you, because you had a party line, I'm sure.
Well, I did. Yes, we did have a party line,
I missed it by about 5 years.
and it was, but nothing as exciting happened to me as happens to Jan and Brad in the.
Well, a lot
in
of
the
people talk
play.
about who used to have the party lines, do talk about hearing their neighbor's business and understand, kind of, it was the gossip. It was the way to get the town gossip in a completely legal way, in a completely legal and encouraged fashion. So again, that same thing's going to play through here, is that what you hear over a phone call.
Well, yes. You know, the film had a few special effects, because sometimes we see Brad and Janet talk. Brad and Janet.
Brad and Jed, I think that's the wrong.
And yes, that's the
do
wrong.
not take it a step to the left.
No, that's the wrong show. And you shall have it in abundance.
Brad and Jan, very
Brad
close.
and Jan.
Very close.
Together, and they did that optically.
Right.
How's that handled on the stage?
Well, the play itself has reduced all those scenes down to only 3 places. In the movie, they are in multiple places. They're in Connecticut. They're in an office building. This has got it down to just their apartments. But I think we can create that split screen feeling by using our Revolve and by having half the stage is supposed to be her apartment, half the stage is his. So we're
I
going to
see.
create that through the set. And I think through the Revolve, we'll have some magic happen as well.
Oh.
Because there's a big redecorating scene.
Oh,
So
yes.
yeah, there'll have to be a surprise with the Revolve.
Yes. Well, certainly Brad and Jan
Morrow.
are certainly wonderful characters,
Oh.
but there are a lot.
I think the real fun, and for me as a character actor, I always look for that little bit part. I think you might have the same issue. We look for that little bit part that we know we can turn it into something really special. This has 23 written parts in it, which is amazing cast size for this theater. My intention is to double up and do a lot of fun with that. Even the 3 lovers of Brad might be the same person,
It's interesting.
because they never have to interact.
Right.
So why not have potentially one person who's really good at characters create 3 completely insane lovers for Brad?
That's wonderful.
So that's I think we can get some things taken care of that
Oh
way.
yeah, that's fair. And this is an adult cast. Is
Oh
that-
yes, definitely. I think we'd be safe with a 16-year-old, but while it's 1959, so the sexual situations are not blatant, there are enough there that maybe a high school kid may not feel comfortable with some of the innuendo. There's nothing that's blatant, but again, it would be the maturity of the individual based on their audition, and also anytime I'm working with somebody under 18, I always want to talk to the parents. Please read the material. Please don't come without knowing what it's about, because I don't want you to be surprised on the first night of rehearsals.
Yes, that happens sometimes.
Yes.
Well, certainly. What are the dates of the production, and what are your audition dates?
Can I get my
Andrew?
cheat sheet out for
Of
that?
course, I had to
Okay.
use mine.
Auditions,
Well.
we're looking at Sunday, May 23rd and Monday, May 24th. That's the week before Memorial Day. And a lot of times we start right after auditions into the rehearsal process. I will wait a week to get to past that holiday.
Oh, I see. So you'll start rehearsals
June 1st, basically,
1st,
yeah.
June 1st.
I like to get 6 weeks in for a rehearsal schedule.
Yes. Well, I certainly look forward to this play. Now, this is a Putnam County Playhouse premiere.
Oh,
We've
wow, that's very
never
exciting.
done this show. In fact, I have never seen it on stage.
I haven't either.
And I was intrigued by the script. I think it's certainly something that our audiences will enjoy.
They sure will. And I think, and I've checked with the rights on this because I'm going to have to do some things. There's some movie lines that don't appear in the script that I think work really well. So I'm going to work with the rights with the publishing company to make sure I can insert some movie lines into the script.
Yeah, I noticed that myself, thinking, yeah, why would
Normally,
they-
it's the stage version's a little racier than the movie, but this is the actual opposite.
Yes.
It's kind of odd.
Yes.
And the things that they took out or didn't include weren't that scandalous.
Yes.
So it's interesting.
It seemed to me like sometimes the movie line was funnier.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
And funny is what
that's all
we're
we know.
going for.
That's
Yeah,
all we
that's
know.
true.
Is funny.
Look at us.
We're hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, to get back to the dates, the auditions were the 23rd and 24th of May. The show itself, 2 weekends, July 8 through 10 and July 14 through 17, our regular 2-week schedule that we
slot.
usually do.
Yes. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about the Pillow Talk.
Oh, it's going to be
I know
fun.
that it's going to be a wonderful show. I know it's something that our audiences will really, really enjoy. So now you know 2 of our titles. Stay with us, and we'll be back with our 3rd title in just a moment.
Thank you, Jack.
Welcome back. I am Dustin Bond. I will be interviewing our 3rd director for our 2021 season. You have found out about 2 of the shows. Now it's time to look at number 3. Hello, Jack.
Hi, Dustin.
So, Jack, tell us about your directing experience at PCPH.
Well, you know, I've been directing for many years. Most recently, I directed Picnic in 2019 and Barefoot in the Park in 2018. I've done musicals and comedies and dramas, and I just really enjoy working here because of the stage and the way our audiences respond, and also because of the wonderful people we get at auditions.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, we always try to choose shows that will be enjoyable to work on, and I think we've certainly done that this year.
I think so, too. Have you directed plays at other theaters?
Oh, yes, a few. Many, many years ago, I did Snoopy at the Hendricks Civic Theater.
Okay.
This was probably in the late 1980s. I only did one show there. For 20 years, I was associated with the Phoenix Theater in Indianapolis. Worked a lot as the assistant director for the late Brian Fonseca, and also directed some musicals, did some choreography, acted in some shows, and it's a little bit different experience because that is a professional theater. But I certainly think that I will put our best productions up against any production in town.
And a lot of our patrons tell us that every year too. I think that they enjoy, and we appreciate it. And you know, we do work hard here.
Oh, yes.
I think that all of our directors and all of our staff, or rather board members, work really hard to put on as close to professional as one can when you're working in a community theater. So, tell us the title of the show you'll be directing this summer.
Well, I'm going to be directing the musical Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, written by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice.
Oh, that's a wonderful show. I did that when I was a freshman in high school.
Did you?
I did.
What role did you play?
I was Judah.
Judah.
So I got to sing the Benjamin
Oh,
Calypso.
yes,
It was a lot of
yes.
fun. And can you tell us what that show is about?
Well, it follows the story of the biblical story of Joseph and his brothers, his father, and how the brothers kind of turn on him and sell him into slavery. He ends up in Egypt. And then, of course, the brothers come to Egypt. They don't recognize him. By that time, he's reached some position of authority. The songs are just an amalgam of different varieties. As you said, you have a calypso. You have a country western song.
Oh, yes.
You have
One More Angel in Heaven.
yes. You have ballads.
Yep.
Big chorus numbers, and it's just a delight. Now, the story is certainly one we all are familiar with,
Right.
whether from our own reading or from Sunday school or whatever. But this is a little bit different take on it. And it was really the first show that Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice wrote. They did it as a cantata for a boys' school. So it's certainly grown since then. It's been on Broadway, well, a couple of times. And of course, on tour. Probably anyone who's familiar with it may be familiar with the version with Donny
Don
Osmond.
is one of
Yes.
the versions that people know quite well.
Yes, we saw him in Chicago, and I think we saw it twice at Cluse Hall in Indianapolis with different Josephs. But it's always fun, and it's an upbeat show, and it leaves you with a really good feeling. And I think we've done it a couple of times here before, and audience
But
always respond.
you've
to it.
directed it before,
Yes.
haven't you?
Yes.
This will be your
third
third time.
and I have new ideas.
Oh,
So
something to look forward to.
yes, yes, I hope so.
So if you've seen it before when Jack's directed, doesn't mean you've seen this version.
That's right. Come see it again.
Yeah. Now, interesting side note. It's just interesting to me, but in the movie version with Donny Osmond, Richard Attenborough is in it. And you may not notice that on the first viewing, but I watched it not too long ago and found out that the Richard Attenborough played the dad.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but that's, like I said, that's just an interesting side note for me.
Yes.
And do you know what you'll be looking for in auditions?
Well, of course, our main goal is to get a Joseph,
As you have to.
as you will, but there are no slack parts. I use everybody all the time, and of course he has 11 brothers.
Right.
So we're looking for Joseph and 11 brothers.
So we need a lot of guys.
Yes. Now, I think in my original production in 1993, a young lady played one of the brothers, which was very interesting. She did a very nice job. And some directors don't, but I would love to, at auditions, to hear something from the show, maybe something from the character that you're interested in doing. The narrator is probably the largest female role. She sings all the way through. She tells the story
She
as the show
pushes
goes
the
along.
story along.
Yes, and it's great fun. It's great fun. Now I'm probably going to ask for performers 16 years of age and up. I don't think I'm going to. Some productions have a children's chorus, but I don't think I'm going to do that because of this, our stage and the lack of space backstage. So I'm probably going to ask for people 16 years and up. But there's something for just about everybody.
Yes,
in
there
this
is.
show.
That's a very the show just allows for a lot of different characters, different types.
Yes.
So
Yes. I will say that first time I did it in 1993, the 1992 production at the Palladium in London was the first production to use what's called the Megamix at the end of the show.
which is a very fun
Very fun.
curtain call.
And our our version of the show, the rental version of the show at that time, didn't have it. And Debbie Lambert was my musical director, so I gave her the CD, and she worked it out. So we may have been the first theater
Ooh.
in outside of the UK
We're making history.
to do the Megamix. Now, well,
We were.
yeah, and well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's okay because the next time the Megamix was part of the program and we paid for it and everything. was
Yeah,
fine.
so I was there.
Yeah.
What are the dates of the production and
Well,
auditions?
let's see. I want to get this correct. The show will be produced August 12th through the 14th and August 18th through the 21st. My auditions will be June 13th, Sunday, June 13th at 2 p.m., and Monday, June 14th at 7 p.m. And in all likelihood, those will be in the rehearsal center. So bring your music, and be prepared to dance, and just have a lot of fun.
Do you have for the readings? Will you be doing from the book or from? Well, there are no readings.
No.
It's an opera.
Yes.
So it's completely vocals. So
It is
there's
a
no.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dustin. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just.
You're correct. It is sung through, so there's nothing to read. I'll probably have everybody stand in groups so that we can get a good family picture and things like that. I think there are 3 different mothers for the 12 boys, maybe
I
4.
think that's right.
So I always like to kind of get a little.
But of course, we all know that Joseph's mother was the one that Jacob loved the best.
Yes, Joseph and Benjamin's mother were
She
yes.
was the favorite.
She was the favorite. I've heard that. And so it will be up to those actors to convey that, and the other wives to convey that.
Well, it sounds like it'll be a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I really do hope that we get to do that show in our 2021 season. I hope we get to do all our shows in the 2021 season. So thank you very much, Jack, for talking with us about that. And if stay tuned, we'll be showing you our 4th and final show for the 2021 season.
And we're back. Well, you now know the titles of 3 of our productions that we optimistically hope to produce in 2021. Now let's talk about the September show. With me right now is Dustin Bond, who's going to direct that show. Dustin, tell me about your directing experience here at Putnam County Playhouse.
Well, as far as a show director, I've actually only directed one show, The Games of Foot, which you were in.
Yes.
But I've also been the tech director for many, many productions out here for quite a while now.
Yes, your work is certainly appreciated. You not only work here at Putnam County Playhouse, but you also do shows elsewhere. Where else have you directed shows?
Well, I've directed one show at Clay County Community Theater of Clay County, and then I am also the director at North Putnam High School. I've been directing there for about 6 years now, I think. So I've been
And you did a show there in the
this fall
recently.
we did Harvey. The kids did Harvey, and obviously due to the pandemic right now, we had to do a family only, family friends only, socially distanced show, but the kids were able to actually put on the show, which was great, especially for the seniors,
Oh yes, oh yes.
because many of them missed doing a show in the spring of this year. Sadly, we had to cancel our season here. Obviously, we had to cancel the Little Mermaid was what they were going to do
Oh.
in the spring, and we've had a few seniors who just completely missed out on doing a musical for their senior year.
Well, that's too bad. Well, we certainly hope that conditions improve and that as we get into 2021, we can look forward to more on-stage presentations, not only here on the stage at the Esley Longden Theater, but also in the local schools and also in
Oh,
local
yes.
theaters and even on Broadway in New York City.
Hope so.
Hope so.
People need theater.
Yes, they do. Can you tell us the title of the show that you'll be directing in September?
I will be directing You Can't Take It With You. So I'm
Great.
looking forward to that. It's a wonderful comedy.
Yes. Pulitzer Prize winning comedy.
Yes.
Yes. Can you tell us a little more about it?
Well, it stems around this family, the Sycamore family, and their household and their crazy antics, I guess you could say. You know, their head of their family, Grandpa, who is just a caring, loving individual who wants to enjoy life to its fullest and not be bogged down by the daily stresses of regular working and all that. So he spends his time with family and friends. And then, of course, you've got Mother, who is a writer, and the father who likes to make fireworks in the basement.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and a lot of other different characters in there.
So there are a lot of opportunities for people who want to be in a show that they might find a role that they would enjoy.
Oh yes, I think so. I think this is a perfect opportunity for our regulars who come out, but not only those, but also any new people who want to come out and try to do a show out at the Playhouse. I think that that show lends very nicely to newcomers as well.
Well, I know that we've produced it at least twice before that I know of, and it's always been very popular.
Oh, it's but from community theaters to high schools. I mean, this show is one that has not only a good message but a great turnout for audiences and who just love to come out and watch it.
Well, it certainly has universal appeal.
Oh yes. Well, I mean, Jimmy Stewart I think helped with that too.
Yes. Well, yes.
As he does.
I know that movie version is available, and I think there are a couple of stage versions
I
available,
think
maybe
so.
on YouTube, that people might watch to get an idea.
You know, one of my favorite things about watching the movie version is Grandpa, because Grandpa was also Mr. Old Man Potter from
Yes.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes.
It's such a different character for him. So.
Lionel Barrymore, yes. And then I've seen a more recent Broadway production, I think, was Jason Robards Jr. played Grandpa Vanderhoff.
Oh, really?
And it was a very very interesting, because he says a lot. You might think that a show written in the 1930s would be a little dated, but it seems it's very current in his thinking about things, thinking about life, thinking about government. Certainly something that we can look at and recognize and enjoy.
His philosophy on family and the time you spend, on that value of that time you spend. There's a little bit of truth I think that we all can find.
Oh yes, I absolutely agree. Now, what are you going to be looking at auditions? What will you be looking for?
I would say that a willingness to do. You know, it's one of those looking for people who are just willing to put it all out there on stage, not be afraid to try new things, try different things with the characters, because obviously with this show, there are a variety of characters there. I mean, the one of the daughters, you know, is a ballet dancer. Obviously, not very good ballet dancer, but a ballet dancer, and her instructor, of course, is a character all on his own.
Yes.
You know, and of course, you know, Grandpa, you know, that loving, the caring, the having fun. It's a complex character, and so I think though, with our with those who we've seen come out here, and then also newbies, I honestly think that it could be a really good show. It always has been, and I don't see any reason why it couldn't be again.
I agree. And of course, the granddaughter Alice becomes engaged to a regular person.
Right, a
and
normal,
a
I guess,
normal person. And he invites his family.
The dinner party in itself, the antics there are just, and that's the other thing. You've got people who are very wacky or wild, but then you've got to have people who can play it completely straight and stiff, while all of these crazy things are happening.
Yes.
So, it calls for a lot in character on both sides.
Yes.
So.
And I think that it's a play that our audiences will enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you mentioned the Games Afoot. Now that was a much smaller cast.
It was.
Then you can't take it with you. So I think that this will be an interesting experiment for you. I know you've worked with larger casts on the
from a high school level,
Yes.
but. And I will say with Games Afoot, I was very fortunate in that cast where I had, past directors who were part of it, which of course, can be interesting in itself.
Yes, yes. Which hat am I going to wear today?
Exactly.
Yes. Well, sometimes when you get a lot of directors, it's more babysitting than directing. But
While that's a good idea, this is. Let's try it my way first.
yes, please. Trust,
Trust,
as we said before.
as we say.
Yes. Now, what are the dates of the production?
The dates of the production are September 9th and 11th and 15th through the 18th.
Okay, and the auditions?
And the audition days are July 18th at 3 o'clock, that's Sunday, and then the 19th on Monday at 7 o'clock.
And those will be here?
Those will be here at more than likely in the rehearsal
Probably in the
center,
rehearsal center.
here at the Playhouse.
Now, how do you audition? Do you want monologues, or do you usually read from the script?
What we do is we usually read from the script, or at least what I do, I guess I should say. I mean, it does obviously vary here, but for me, I prefer to pick out scenes from the show and have people get up and read those. And of course, you have some directors who are nice enough to give those out ahead of time and publish them on our website, and I might be that nice. It depends. Yeah, I mean, so, but I try to make it as easy on our auditioners as I can, because I know it can get nerve-wracking,
Yes.
Getting up there and doing a cold read. So, especially some of these older shows, they have words in there that I've never.
I thought he was going to say some of these older people.
Oh no. Complete respect for.
Yes. Well, I certainly look forward to your auditions. I look forward to seeing You Can't Take It With You in a sparkling new production, just the same way that I look forward to the 2021 season.
Oh yes.
And so thank you so much for joining us. Now you know the titles of all 4 of our shows. You know our directors. You can start thinking about what you want to audition for and where you want to be sitting during the productions that we've talked about. It's all for you. And we remain optimistic that in 2021 we'll have a full season here at the Hazel Day Longden Playhouse. So for the Putnam County Playhouse, I would like to just say thank you again for your support, and we'll see you at the barn very soon. Thank you.